Have you ever wondered how many countries there are in the world? It seems like a simple question, but the answer isn't as clear-cut as it seems. The number of countries depends on who you ask, and there isn't one universally agreed-on answer. The term country itself doesn't have a specific definition, which makes things even more complicated. A good starting point would be the United Nations, UN, an organization that keeps track of global matters. As of now, there are 193 member countries in the UN. This number is often considered the lowest count when talking about the number of countries in the world. In addition to these 193 countries, there are also two observer states that are not full members: the Holy See, which represents Vatican City, and Palestine. Even though they are not official members, both are recognized as states. Vatican City, despite being so small, is recognized by everyone as a country. It is the smallest country in the world, located entirely within the city of Rome, Italy. Its size is tiny, about 44 hectares, less than half a square kilometer, and it has a population of around 800. Compared to the largest country, Russia, Vatican City is a country in its own right. But despite its size, Vatican City is a country in its own right. Now, what about Palestine? Many people assume that if Vatican City is recognized as a country, then Palestine must be one too. However, Palestine isn't yet fully recognized as a country by all. Palestine has applied to join the UN as a full member, submitting its application in November 2011, but unlike Vatican City, Palestine hasn't been able to gain full membership. One key reason is that the United States, a close ally of Israel, has consistently opposed Palestine's bid. The situation in the Middle East, especially the ongoing conflict between Palestine and Israel, has made this a difficult issue. The United States has always been a strong supporter of Israel, providing both financial and military aid. While President Obama has voiced support for the idea of a sovereign Palestinian state, the U.S. has blocked Palestine from becoming a full member of the UN. This opposition is partly due to the U.S. veto power in the UN Security Council, which is made up of 15 members. 5 of these are permanent members: China, Russia, France, the United Kingdom, and the United States, and each of them holds veto power. If the U.S. opposes Palestine's membership, no matter how many countries support it, Palestine's application will not pass. Aside from the political challenges, there are other reasons why some hesitate to recognize Palestine as a full country. For one, Palestine doesn't have clear, legally defined borders. The territories it claims, such as the West Bank and Gaza Strip, were initially drawn up in 1949 as part of an armistice to end the Arab-Israeli War. These lines were never meant to be official borders, but they've become the basis of Palestine's claim. Additionally, much of the land that Palestine claims is under the control of the Israeli military, which complicates matters even further. In the United States, the State Department lists 195 independent countries, which includes the 193 UN members, Vatican City, and one more, Kosovo. Kosovo declared its independence from Serbia in 2008 and has been recognized by around 100 UN members. However, Serbia, along with a few other countries, does not recognize Kosovo as an independent nation. Because of this, Kosovo has not applied for full UN membership, as it would likely face opposition in the UN Security Council. If you count Kosovo, you might arrive at 196 countries, but even this number is controversial, especially when considering Taiwan. Taiwan's status is a complex issue. While it operates like an independent country, it is officially considered part of China by the United Nations. Taiwan's official name is the Republic of China, which causes confusion with the People's Republic of China, commonly known simply as China. To understand Taiwan's situation, we need to look back to the late 19th century. In 1895, Taiwan was taken over by Japan. After World War II and the fall of the Qing dynasty, the Republic of China was established in 1912. In 1921, the Communist Party of China was formed, leading to a civil war between the nationalists and the communists. During World War II, Japan invaded China, and after Japan's defeat in 1945, Taiwan was returned to China. However, the Chinese Civil War continued, and by 1949, the nationalist government retreated to Taiwan, while the Communist Party took control of mainland China. Since then, Taiwan has functioned independently, though China considers it a part of its territory. This has led to a tense situation, with Taiwan maintaining its own government, military, and economy, while China insists on reunification. The international community is divided over whether Taiwan should be considered a separate country, with some countries recognizing it and others siding with China. The debate over how many countries exist in the world is complicated and deeply tied to politics, historical events, and international relations. While the UN lists 193 countries, other entities like Kosovo and Taiwan blur the lines of what it means to be a country. The number of recognized countries might be 195 or 196, depending on how you define country, but in reality, the situation is far more complex than a simple count. The answer to this question isn't fixed, and it will likely continue to evolve as the world changes. The agreement signed after World War II stated that Japan had to give up control of any land it had taken by force. This included Taiwan, which Japan had gained 50 years earlier from the Qing dynasty. Japan was given two options: surrender without conditions or face, as the agreement put it, prompt and utter destruction. On September 2, 1945, Japan signed the document that officially ended the war, and Taiwan's sovereignty was transferred to the Republic of China, ROC. Later that year, the United Nations UN was formed, with the ROC as one of its founding members and a permanent member of the Security Council. The main powers in the Security Council, known as the Big Five, were the same as today, but included the ROC instead of the People's Republic of China, PRC, and the Soviet Union instead of Russia. However, the situation became more complex when the Chinese Civil War resumed. The Communist forces eventually took control of mainland China, and in 1949, the Chinese Communist Party established the PRC. The nationalist forces led by the Kuomintang retreated to Taiwan. This marked the end of the Civil War and the creation of two separate Chinese governments, the PRC, which controlled the mainland, and the ROC, which controlled Taiwan. Both governments claimed to be the legitimate government of all of China, leading to a long-standing dispute over sovereignty. For 2 decades, the ROC continued to represent China at the United Nations. That changed in 1971, when the UN General Assembly voted to replace the ROC with the PRC as the representative of China, despite the PRC having no jurisdiction over Taiwan. In 1991, the ROC applied to join the UN under the name Republic of Taiwan, but due to China's veto power, Taiwan's membership was blocked. The current president of Taiwan has stated that Taiwan does not seek independence, and in his inaugural speech, he declared that Taiwan would not pursue reunification or independence, but he also emphasized that Taiwan should not go to war over these issues. The main goal for Taiwan is peaceful relations with China. Both governments agree on the One China policy, but they still disagree on which one should have control over the whole of China. Taiwan operates much like any other country. It has its own passports, a president, a government, and a military. Taiwan also participates in international events like the Olympics and the FIFA World Cup, though it competes under the name Chinese Taipei to avoid upsetting China. Very few countries officially recognize Taiwan as a country, or the ROC as the legitimate government of China. However, many countries do unofficially acknowledge Taiwan, and Taiwan maintains unofficial embassies around the world. The United States, for example, recognizes Taiwan's existence but avoids officially calling it a country to avoid angering China. So, is the situation with Taiwan clear? Not really. It's still a very complicated issue. But let's shift focus to another political situation: the United Kingdom, or the UK. As economic prosperity has improved in the UK, the nation has also become more separated than ever. The UK is often described as a country of countries, made up of Scotland, England, Wales, and Northern Ireland. But is the UK one country or 4 countries? In reality, it's a bit of a mix. There are 3 countries: Scotland, England, and Wales. Wales, however, is a bit of a special case. It was once considered a principality and never fully independent. Northern Ireland is not a country either. It is considered a province of the UK, not an independent country. The formation of the UK began with the union of the Kingdom of England and the Kingdom of Scotland in 1707, which created the Kingdom of Great Britain. In 1801, Ireland joined the Union, forming the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland. After Ireland gained independence in 1922, Northern Ireland remained part of the UK, which then became the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. Northern Ireland has never been a separate country, and it doesn't even have an official flag. It sometimes uses the Ulster banner in sporting events, but the official flag of the UK is the Union Jack. So while the UK consists of 3 countries, Scotland, England, and Wales, and 1 province, none of these countries are fully sovereign. The term constituted country is used to describe them, and this is not unique to the UK. For example, in the Kingdom of the Netherlands itself is a constituent country, along with Curaçao, Sint Maarten, and Aruba. Even more confusing, the Netherlands includes 12 provinces in Europe and special territories in the Caribbean, which also form part of the kingdom. Similarly, Denmark governs Greenland and the Faroe Islands, which are autonomous territories. Greenland, the world's largest island, and the Faroe Islands are considered part of Denmark, but they have a high degree of self-governance. Then there's the case of French Polynesia, an overseas territory of France in the South Pacific. Despite being far from mainland France, French Polynesia is considered part of the French Republic. In the Pacific, New Zealand has a unique arrangement with the countries of Niue and the Cook Islands, known as free associations. These countries are not fully independent but are sovereign in some ways. They are part of a special relationship with New Zealand but are not members of the United Nations. Other countries with similar agreements include the Marshall Islands, the Federated States of Micronesia, and Palau, which have free association with the United States. Some regions, like Somaliland, have declared independence but have not gained recognition from any country, even though they operate as independent states. Somaliland is part of Somalia, but it functions as if it were its own country, despite having no international recognition. So, how many countries are there in the world? The answer isn't simple. The number changes depending on how you define a country. Some people count only the 193 members of the United Nations, plus the Vatican City, while others might include Taiwan or countries like Kosovo, which is recognized by some nations but not by the UN. If you count other territories and regions with limited recognition, the number could be much higher. The most commonly accepted number is 195, including all 193 UN members and 2 observer states, the Holy See, Vatican City, and Palestine. But this number could change, depending on political events. For example, if Kosovo were to join the UN, the number of recognized countries would rise to 196. It's important to remember that the situation is fluid and may change over time.